think we're ready. Okay. Hi, Josh.
Hello, Jessica.
It's been a long time.
It has. I didn't even remember where to go. I had to Google how to get here.
When was the last time you were here? What episode?
What episode are we on now?
30?
I'm going to say like 18.
That's a big one. It's like a milestone.
I know.
30.
And nobody's here to celebrate with us.
I'm here. Yay! Okay, so this is part 2 of a 4-part series on boundaries.
Yeah.
Tina spoke last week, and she talked about setting boundaries with friends and family. And today you are going to discuss nutritional boundaries.
Yes, nutritional boundaries. And I've kind of broken it down into kind of 4 highlighted areas that I thought we could go into. And then all the other areas of food and nutrition, I feel like kind of feed from here.
Okay.
And, as we talk with our clients all the time that, really probably 80 to 90% of our wellness, right, comes from what we're doing in and around the kitchen and shopping and groceries and everything. Not that we want to do it without exercise, but a lot of it is based in the nutrition. So
yes.
Kind of these 4 things will kind of set the groundwork and kind of set the perimeter, the boundaries for where we want to take everything.
Okay. I think this is going to be a good one. A lot of people are going to be ready.
So I'll just kind of throw one out there. These are in no particular order.
Okay.
Just from the brain of Josh.
Okay.
So,
I'll interrupt you if I have a question that
Please
I think people need an answer to. Okay.
So first, we're going to start off with have a good relationship with food. Allow yourself to eat foods that make you feel good without guilt, without labeling them as good or bad. I've come to find out as, with talking with folks about nutrition all the time, instead of calling things good or bad, going with good, better, or best. That way, I was just talking with a lady a little bit ago. She likes to have bologna sandwiches. Is a bologna sandwich a bad choice? No, it's a fine choice. Can we have a bologna sandwich from time to time? Sure. So we'd label that as a good rather than a bad. But can we do better than a bologna sandwich? We sure can. We can do better or even best.
It's the mindset on nutrition.
Yeah. So that's kind of my principle 1 to our boundaries. Number 2 would be listen to yourself. Determine, what you need to do or say, then communicate it to yourself assertively. And just like when we're talking mindset, write it down.
Yes.
Writing down goes a long way.
Writing down what you're eating.
Writing down your thoughts.
Your thoughts on what you're eating.
Yes.
Okay. And what do you mean by that?
So what's going on in your mind at the time when you eat it?
Like, are you eating out of stress? Are you eating out of hunger? Are you eating out of boredom? Those types of things? Or
sure. Or were you tired? If we're noticing a recurring theme, I'll do this with a new client kind of in their onboarding session, and we'll go through a food log. And just to kind of start to piece together that mind and mouth and stomach aspect of things, I'll have them, write down what was going through your mind as they're doing, the certain times of day when they log their food. And, were they tired? Were they really hungry? What was going through their mind, and trying to notice, okay, well, if we're tired here and we're tired here and we're tired here, either A, we're not sleeping really well at night, or does the nutrition story from the rest of the day tell us that, we're not getting proper nutrition throughout the day, so then it's tired from not fueling properly, or are we, not getting enough sleep. So just by having that story written down, then,
tying up those loose ends.
Yes. Or it can go to the more journaling aspect of when you're done, which will then at the end of the day, I'll ask people after they journal a day, was this a typical day? Yes or no? And then it gets them to kind of past tense, was this a good day, or was this typical, or, did you have 2 birthday parties and a wedding to go to, and then went out with some friends at night, and then, yes, those days happen, but why and where was your mind? And then you can kind of, all those days tell a story, and we can, think back and see where that was and where it's taking us in the future.
And sometimes people don't really know that they're in that moment or in that emotion until you ask them to reflect on it. And they say, oh, you know what, that was a bad day. That was a really off day. I didn't notice it at that point in time, but when I look back now, it is. So now I see this is the mistake that I'm making on the day when my child has 4 sports and I'm snacking mindlessly versus being planned.
Yep. And then we can also say, as we're talking about it, was that a once in a while thing, or was that a recurring thing? If that's a, we all have those off days, let's say.
Yes.
Was that a once in a month thing, or was that
once a week?
Yes. Or twice a week,
day.
or is this happening all weekend, every weekend?
Yes.
So then it can kind of determine what kind of issue that we're dealing with.
Which is that's a common theme. Boundaries at gatherings and stuff on the weekends, but that would probably be a whole separate podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole nother one.
Yes.
But yeah, listen to yourself and write it down.
I like that.
It becomes real when you write it down.
It does.
Number 3, allow treats in moderation. Having less healthy foods occasionally makes them become less forbidden, let's say. Think of this as no foods at all are off the table. Just like we were talking about, no foods are bad. So nothing, it's one of the very first things that when I'm sitting down to talk with somebody is I'll say, first and foremost, there's no foods that we can't have, because they'll start off and say, oh, I know I shouldn't have this, or I know I shouldn't have that. And I'll say, hey,
why not?
Why not? No food is off the table. It's just a matter of how much and how often.
Creating that boundary.
Yep. Number 4, and I think this might be probably the most important, if there really is a most important, make it fun. Because if we don't make this fun, then we're not going to keep doing it.
Nope. It's not sustainable.
So those were my 4 boundaries for creating food and nutritional boundaries.
I like that. I do want to go back to the first one.
Sure.
Because it was reminding me of an Instagrammer from this morning. What was his name? Scotty K?
Scotty K Fitness.
Scotty K Fitness. He's really funny. His mustache is like it's going to reach out and like hit you in the face.
It might be alive.
You might have to follow him. He's funny. We could probably get recognition for shouting his name out. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there. What was the quote that he said this morning about relationships with food? Wasn't there?
It was the recipe adding guilt in its cookie.
Guilt-free. That's where it was tying it in. Yes.
Guilt is not an ingredient.
It is not an ingredient, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Guilt is let's go and talk and lifted and come to us and we'll talk and lifted, right? And we'll go in and we'll get the stories out for you.
Yeah.
But guilt is not an ingredient. And I like that. And it ties in with a lot of what you're saying with creating your boundaries. It's just healthy boundaries. And just like our clients, when they come and talk about soda, we don't tell them you can never have soda again, because that's not realistic. If someone told me I could never have a margarita ever again, I wouldn't be friends with them anymore.
Well, who would want to be?
No. Moderation.
Yep.
Boundaries.
Yep. No good or bad. Good, better, best.
Yes. Is there anything on here that resonates with you the most that you had to use in your own personal journey, or that you might currently use? Or even better, Josh, is there something on there that might stand out for you with your children?
Probably it could probably speak to a little bit of each. So I think making it fun, that always helps with children. They're, especially with the younger ones, getting them to eat their vegetables and, all those things. They can be a challenge at times. So gamifying things, making them fun, getting them involved. Number 4 there, I would have to say probably a little bit. I've probably done the most work on having a good relationship with food. I would say I've probably done the most work there. So I feel like I'm probably in the best place personally there. But listening and allowing treats in moderation, I think, is probably where my current struggle,
current struggle
and having those boundaries for myself is, and where I'm currently working the most.
Yes. Well, that's good to know. So when you come up with some sort of a resolve, you'll have to come back and share that.
Yeah.
Or just post it. Maybe we can get Josh to post on Facebook. Just kidding.
Maybe. There's always a chance.
Kidding. I think that is the one that probably ties in the most with my daughter, is getting her to understand that it's not awful for her to have chips or for her to have Cheez-Its or Goldfish. I don't mind. I don't care. It's just, what are we pairing it up with? What are we coupling it with? What is it doing for you? The understanding of that creates, oh, I will have energy at my soccer game if I have an apple and peanut butter with my Goldfish. So those fine lines.
Yeah.
I like it. Good, Josh. Thanks.
You bet.
That was a good one, and I'm sure some of this stuff will help people. If you have any questions for Josh, post them below, and I will force him on Facebook to answer your questions.
Yeah, and if you've got any other nutritional boundaries that you've found on your own, I'd be interested to hear those ideas. Post them below. And
Yes, share them with the world.
Yeah.
We can use
we'll
more
add
than
to
4.
our list.
Yes, I agree. I'm here for it. All right, thanks so much, Josh.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.